So, working with all of these innovations and entrepreneurs, is there a trend or a company that you find very exciting right now that you think we should keep our eyes on?
Gosh, that's a harder one. The companies that I find really interesting are usually ridiculous. So, I mean, the one I mentioned, I don't even know the full name of the company, like it's relaxmydog.com. Like, I think that's just hysterical, so I keep an eye on that. I like the really crazy ideas, like the guy who wanted to do Farmville, but with real plants. Like, that's hysterical to me, so I'm really interested in those startups. But the companies that I think are more interesting are the ones that are at the forefront of some vast technological change. Like 3D printing, we talked about earlier, is, I think, kind of astonishing. MakerBot is fantastic. The drone companies, there is one next to me, his name is Skycatch. They're doing extremely well. I was very impressed with their technology. Anything 3D printing related, like RNA printers, food 3D printers, circuit board 3D printers, robots making other robots. That's really interesting. And of course the financial industry, like anything Bitcoin related. I can't tell where that's going to play out, but there's something really interesting there. So those are the things I'm interested in.
Right. So you are actually a very interesting leader in the way that you have moved and taken up this almost a job that didn't exist before. So if you look at other leaders around you, who do you find interesting? Do you think there's leaders that you get inspired by that
Sure.
you can also learn from?
There's so many good people. I mean, the thing is, there are leaders that are kind of very well known, like obviously Eric Ries, Steve Blank, Janice Frazier is a huge influence. I worked for her for a while. There's a litany. Some of the people that I think are actually doing more important work are like Spike Morelli, like Justin Wilcox, my friends Nick Narenya and Zach Albert, like they're all helping out at the grassroots level. William Petrie is fantastic. Kevin DeWalt. Like, these are all people that are not hugely famous for their contributions to the thought leadership, but they're coming up with amazing things, and they're genuinely helping people. They're on the ground working with entrepreneurs, many times for free or underpaid, and they're building the community that we need. And that's the most critical contribution right now, is not somebody coming up with a better way to diagram the business model canvas. It's the people who are bringing together 100 entrepreneurs so that those entrepreneurs teach another 100 entrepreneurs that teach another entrepreneur, and encourage the peer-to-peer exchange of information and knowledge that we desperately need. And that's the only thing that will advance us to the next level. Is not Steve Blank's next book, which I'm sure will be awesome, but the peer-to-peer knowledge that we need to get.
Inspiring. So what do you find in your work that is most exciting in the role that you're performing now?
So I get a lot of personal gratification from coaching teams directly. I don't think it's the most exciting intellectually, because a lot of it is always devolves to who's your customer? Who's your customer? No, really, who's your customer? So some of it is not necessarily that challenging, but it's the most rewarding because you actually get to see progress. The most challenging and I think interesting and thought-provoking things that kind of keep me up at night is when I'm looking at the ecosystem. So, and ecosystems in this sense could be a city, it could be an industry, like what is the ecosystem of shipping in Norway or Sweden? Okay, what does the gaming industry look like? But also sometimes inside corporations, like, wow, you have 40,000 people in this corporation. That's a really interesting ecosystem. You have a completely different set of constraints than a different corporation, but it's strangely analogous to an ecosystem. Like in Tallinn, I don't know what the situation in Estonia is currently. I haven't been there in 2 years, but they used to have a lack of educated investors. Right? And that's difficult because if the investor is a brick and mortar entrepreneur and he wants to give you €80,000 for 60% of your company, like that's a no-go. It destroys your cap table right from the start of the tech company. So that's an obstacle to innovation. Inside a company, you have analogous things. You have things like you have a lack of educated investors, you have a lack of educated business sponsors or business unit managers who are prepared to look at a startup and don't ask like, hey, what's the ROI 6 months from now? But say, well, show me a conversion rate, show me some market demand, show me 100 customer interviews that demonstrates that you can sign up Fortune 100 companies. Show me something like that. Like that gets really interesting in trying to map and analyze that ecosystem and understand what tools or processes or inspirations or air support, business leader education can you put in place that will accelerate innovation within that ecosystem? That's really fascinating.
And that would be really cool to actually get that to go much quicker than it is today.
It's very difficult. I mean, it's difficult to map. Like, I mean, there's lots of good theories about how to map it. Like, I have my own ways of trying to map it, but it's very hard to implement. And to get the buy-in to actually make those significant changes takes a while. So that's a good challenge too.